and then you put me in. It's going to be the one time.
Oh.
Wait, I need the titty cactus.
Welcome, everyone, to the newest episode of Sass Beard, where we get to listen to great, fun dad jokes and have lots of good times talking about the local politics of our area here in the River Valley. Kristin, it's a great day. It thunderstormed this morning, and then now it's sunshiny and beautiful. If you don't like the weather in Arkansas, just stick around for a little while. Things are going to be changing.
Definitely change, yeah.
Yes. Unlike our political situation in the state of Arkansas, which doesn't change very often. However, a bright spot in the city of Russellville, you know?
Yeah, sure.
We got the sass back this week, guys.
Yeah, I rolled in a whole mood. I'm ready to argue. I don't even know what we're talking about today. Nathan just kept it a secret. He was like, I've got this. And so I just rolled in like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to argue. Let's do it. I don't even know what we're arguing about, but I'm ready to argue.
Well, I just want to say that the city council had a meeting last night and there were a lot of decisions made. However, there wasn't a lot of hoopla about all the decisions. They were just like boom, 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 boom.
But the hoopla is where the fun is.
I know. But like some of the decisions were pretty impactful. Like, you know, we're cleaning up all of our like zoning so that everything matches across the board, which is a great step for preparation of growth. Mm-hmm. So that way, this section that's rated this and this section that's rated this, and they're exactly the same thing, but they're different zonings because over the last 50 years, we just called it one thing. Mm-hmm. So now they're all the same. Boring, get it. But in the future, not only that, code enforcement, the fire station that does all the checks for the new construction, the fire marshal, like all of those fees have all been revamped. So it's a lot of boring information, but now we are in a more competitive situation for like bigger cities.
Well, it's the thing that makes, like, for people who might want to come here with a business, it makes Russellville more competitive for opportunity for growth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, yes, these things are make you want to snooze fest when you're talking about the specific details, but the overall focus towards growth is really the important thing. Mm-hmm. Last night we made Juneteenth a paid holiday for city employees. So, you know, anybody working in the city offices, public works, fire, police, like, boom, you can have a day off on Juneteenth.
Awesome. Do you know what Juneteenth is?
I absolutely do.
Do you want to tell us?
Do you know what Juneteenth is?
I do.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell us?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So Juneteenth, if you're not familiar with the holiday, it's something that's, you know, it's been around for a long time, but it really, you know, hasn't picked up a lot of mainstream knowledge until the last few years. And so I think it's really important to talk about. So basically what Juneteenth is the celebration of when the news of the Emancipation Proclamation actually reached the last enslaved people in Texas. It was about 2 years after. Right. So it was in 1865. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed in January of 1863. And so didn't reach them until June of 1865. Right. In Arkansas, it actually wasn't until September of 1863. So we went about, 8 months before the people were freed here from the time that was passed. But I think it's just an important holiday to be aware of, that, you know, not everyone in our country has experienced the freedom and the opportunity and the privilege that some of us have historically.
Yeah. And really, you know, we look at these things as like binary decisions, you know, and so, well, the slaves, you know, Civil War was fought, Emancipation Proclamation 1863, boom, slaves are free, you know, but we all know, like, especially those of us in like government or that work with government, like, things don't happen that quickly. Like, the processes take time. and obviously at that time period, it purposefully took more time to get the news out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and not just that. I mean, if you look at the history, there were still a lot of people who profited off of enslaved humans, and so they used loopholes and worked around the law to be able to keep people enslaved or keep them on such low wages that they couldn't be free. And so, this wasn't even then in 1865. That wasn't the end of it, really. Yeah. But that was when the actual news of it reached everyone. So,
one thing. This is just something that, like, an aside for the city. I think that for a while now, like the city staff and the people that work, through the city, everybody's a little gun shy in a lot of ways. I know that there was some concern and stress that this even something like this may not pass, but it was unanimously voted on, and so, like, I'm very thankful to be a part of that. That, listen, the expectation before was we're going to present something to the city council or to the mayor, and very low expectation in positive outcome, and now people are bringing stuff to us, and we still have to review the rules, and that we have to have discretion and be careful when it comes to money. But, like, this is something that was easily done. It didn't cost us any more than we spent on printers, last month.
Right. And it is a federal holiday now. Yeah. So it's, it's just kind of aligning with where everyone's going.
Yeah. So anyways, it was a good thing. Something else that we talked about last night was, like, there was a lot of zoning, like we talked about. And then there's been this concern over the, like, annexation of the kind of northeastern properties where, the Legends Casino is going to be, if all things work out. Then there's property around that. And in 2019, the previous administration started this process to annex that property. And there's just a lot of rules around it. The state created some rules that kind of pigeonhole us into having to make these decisions. And for the city to be able to create its own rules, the rules that are already made, actually, not create new rules, but for that, like, let's say we annex that property, we have to do it within a certain amount of time, which was 5 years from when it was started.
Right. So if folks remember, when all of the drama was happening between the city and the county and who was going to get money and if the casino was going to be in city limits or outside city limits, and just all that was going back and forth. I can't even remember who did it at the time, but somebody made the, like, motion or, filed the ordinance or the resolution to say that they would need to have an election on the annexation. Yes. And state law requires that once that resolution is passed, the election has to happen within 5 years. Yes. Right. Yeah. And to me, I swear it feels like that whole drama happened like last summer, but it's been almost 5 years. Yeah. And, it's interesting because when stuff like that goes on, that was kind of a political posturing.
Absolutely. It was more of it was more of a, we're in charge, even if you come, we're still going to have some say.
Right. And just trying to, like, make a move when all these things were happening. But the person who did that at the time was really setting up the next council to have to deal with that decision, which is frustrating because,
welcome to the world.
They didn't necessarily have to deal with this. They can just go out there and do something crazy, and then the next people have to deal with it.
Well, and so in that sense, like, that administration openly was not in favor of
hostile
casino,
to the casino.
And was okay that everybody knew that, and but so didn't have any interaction, with the exception of, now there is a much more positive interaction. We want to be like partners with all of our community businesses, not just the ones that we like or don't like. And so, like, with this group, the people, CMB's been very patient and been very kind to our community, even through a lot of the struggles that they've gone through. And again, this is a financial decision for them. So it's not like it has been in their benefit to do those things. And so we want to be good partners from a community standpoint with them. And that's why there's some concern about this, because November, it has to happen before October of 2024. Well, there's only 2 times that we can't have it. It cannot be a special election.
Right.
It has to be during either the primary or the main election time. So that's November or March.
So here's my question though, because we've seen this play out in different things. Actually, this just happened in the quorum court last month, or in their earlier meeting this month in June, at the beginning of June, was a council can rescind a previous resolution. Like the quorum court, they had previously done a resolution to create an additional judge for the 5th Judicial District, which includes Pope, Johnson, and Franklin counties. Right now there are 4. They passed a resolution to do a 5th. Well, now because of a lot of different reasons, they rescinded that resolution until such time as maybe it will become appropriate to revisit it. But it seems like the city has the option to do something like that.
I don't know. That's a good question. We'd have to talk to. That's the thing. I don't know all of the details surrounding state law. That may be a specific issue. We may not be able to do that with a zoning or an annexation rule.
I bet you can.
And not only that, but if we do, right now, if we do not have that, we don't have to pass. It doesn't have to pass. We just have to hold
the
it.
Election.
And so that the city can say, if you're going to put a restaurant in that area, it has to have the proper drainage so it doesn't mess up our sewage system. If you're going to, you have to have so many, fire suppression systems within a certain number of square footage. The rules that govern those types of things are set by the city, the codes and those kind of things. And if we do not have this, the city will not. So we would have the property within our city, but we wouldn't have the control over the development.
Yeah.
In that extent, I don't say control. I mean, just the same.
Just like the, the standards. That
the same standards that everybody else has to follow
in the city limits. Right. I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it just seems like that has to be an option I think there's some pretty clear language on the ability of a council to rescind a previous resolution.
And we shouldn't be beholden to a previous.
Bound to it by a previous council.
Yeah.
And so, it's just kind of an unusual situation. Listen, I have several things that I want to argue with the city attorney about. So maybe I just need to
just go call him and get on.
Let's
do it on the show.
Let's do it. Oh my God.
A live call with
blessings.
Tracy.
Let's not. Poor Trey, bless him.
He would be so mad at me.
He'd be so
I would never be able to get an ordinance passed. He would just be like, write it yourself.
Well, listen, under this new thing, actually, I don't think he'd be allowed to say that. You guys have this crazy bill. But listen, before we get into the crazy long bill, and, we were talking about the casino, and so I think this is a good time because we know that there are some people in our community who are very concerned about the casino. And so just to screw with them, let's talk about the theme in the studio today. It's ass and titties.
It is TNA. Welcome to the Offbeat Times TNA studio, presented to you by.
I thought we were going to open with
Plant
this.
Parlor Boutique.
So look, okay, Father's Day is coming up, y'all. Look at this thing.
And if your dad is into gardening,
whichever one, look, this cactus, if you can see it, I'm hoping Shane can zoom in on it. Listen, what this thing is growing on it looks very breasty.
Some dads would be into that, I'm sure.
It's the ractus.
It's the ractus.
According to Shane, which is, So,
and the badonka, whatever that is.
We started out very serious, but we got to talk about the casino, so I think it's just the appropriate time for ass and titties.
Yeah. Because that's all going to be the casino. Like,
yeah, that's all they're bringing here, right?
The drugs and prostitutes
Yep.
are coming because of the casino.
Yeah, so let's talk about, before we go...
Go to the really long 89-page ordinance. We need to talk about the fact that we did spend $1.7 million. That's a lot of money.
It is. On what?
On fake grass. Because we need it. But I know that people, that's the argument, that $1.7 million. So I'm just saying it before they can say it. $1.7 million on fake grass. Yes, that's gonna be the trollish argument.
I also feel like that's like the theme for the recreational cannabis. 1.8 million on fake grass.
Fake grass. Yeah. No. So we have these wonderful baseball stadium type facilities in our town that have been used.
You sound really athletic when you say baseball type facility sort of places.
Well, what I mean is they're not stadiums. They're facilities that pertain to baseball and softball. Like Hickey Park, Shiloh Park, like several areas. And a lot of money is brought into our city from those spaces. But there's a lot of work that goes into, like, the grass and the making of the, how baseball fields look. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
I know a lot about the sports ball.
I'm sure you do know the things about the sports ball.
Touchdown. Here for it.
The entity that is in charge of those facilities, the River Valley Youth Baseball Association, they have gone around to find some donors and some significant people to invest in these properties, and the city is basically fronting a significant portion of that money because we have the money in our economic development funds that are just sitting there, and this is from a specific fund that we haven't been able to find ways to spend.
Oh, y'all, you need to bring somebody like me in. Listen, I can always spend money.
And so
money, y'all's money.
Like with tourism, this is one of those tourism dollar things that it was really hard to find a justification for, and that would hold up legally. And this was one of those areas, and we had the money, and it was an easy decision to make.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good, when those, I mean, I'm not into sports, but when those tournaments come into town, people eat here, their families come in, people stay in hotels here. I mean, it really does bring in a lot of tax revenue. And so, I mean, even though I'm not into sports, I can see the value in keeping those facilities up and nice. I also like that it's not just at the one out at Shiloh, that it's including Hickey.
Right.
Because, that side of town doesn't always get a lot of attention.
Right.
And so the pool's been updated and now the ball field's being updated. I think that's really great. To see it happening on both sides of town, where it's going to impact, not just folks who may come from out of town, but also be a good positive space for folks who live here.
Absolutely. And the Russellville High School baseball field is within that too. So you would have traveling teams from other areas of the state coming into baseball games for, the high school baseball, and they could see, hey, look what Russellville is doing. So it also increases our, because there's always, for a long time, there's just been this negative, why would you want to go to Russellville, and we can change that.
Yeah, we can, because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be. When we get done with it, it's going to be awesome.
By the time we're done with it, it's either going to be,
it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
There's only one option there. I don't know what you're saying either about.
Right. Well,
it's going to be awesome. We're going to believe it.
These back of my mind troglodytes going blah, 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 blah.
It's kind of like how everybody called it Russ Vegas forever. And then got really shocked when a casino came. We spoke it into existence.
We did.
We're going to do the same thing with y'all being.
There are people that hate us for that.
Well, I'm sorry, they're wrong. That must be difficult for them. I don't. Condolences. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't bother me on a day-to-day basis that they hate us. And then I say us, I mean collective, not just me.
Yeah, definitely.
Nobody really hates me.
It's really and that's why I can't date in Russell. So, anyways, let's talk about you guys taking a leaf out of Sarah Huckabee Sanders' playbook and running a 95-page ordinance.
Oh, Lord. So this is definitely something that was not sponsored by me. But
who was it sponsored by?
Oh, it was definitely the person who has to deal with all of it. So the city attorney.
Okay.
There's a lot of rules, and this would probably concise all of those rules from a couple hundred pages to 90 pages.
I like that.
Getting rid of redundancy and clarifying, putting everything in one space so that it's easily searched for online. Like if somebody that's on the Historic District Commission wants to figure out, like, do we have purview in this area? It's very difficult for them to find the rules, except like, especially if they don't have their manual with them and they're talking to somebody and they just want to search real quick on the website. So this would take care of all of that. It would put everything in a concise space.
Cool.
But it's not necessarily like this. We looked at it this month. This was the first of 3 readings. So we've got the next 90 days to kind of amend and change. And
60 days.
Right. Well.
Because if this was the first, then you'll have 2 more, right?
60 days, yeah. To be fair, we didn't get it until like a week ago. So.
Oh, cool. Love that.
Yeah. Because we've got the next 2 months to look at it, I was not opposed to being like, hey, how about we just table this? Because I probably would have said that if it was closer to time that it was going to be passed.
Well, and I think it's fine. You do the first of 3. It's introduced. Yeah. If you amend it, you'll probably need to start another first of 3. So, the likelihood that it goes through actually goes through in the next 2 readings. I mean, I bet you guys will probably have some delays just in getting everything worked out. One of the things that I think I really don't like, though, about how this is written is it's not consistent with like typical procedures for amending law, where there's like sections that are changed or underlined, language that's taken out is stricken,
right?
Like, so that it's very clear.
Where you look at the previous policy,
to track, like it's very easy to track changes. I don't like that this is written where it's just all in there, like it looks like it's all just being compiled from other things that already exist when there are changes in here.
Yeah.
And so I'm officially letting a council member know that I don't like that shit. And
well, I expect to see your personal edits in my inbox sometime next week. So
I'm sending them to Trey. Send them straight to Trey. Hey, Trey.
You gotta send them to me too,
I'll
so that I can
too.
review them.
I'll CC everybody. Let's all talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I have opinions. But seriously, that really does need to be fixed, because it's really kind of, to me, not transparent to the citizens who may want to read this and give their input if they can't tell what's been changed. So I hope that that's going to be fixed.
So it basically takes our handbook, our city code. These are the responsibilities and duties of mayor, of treasurer, or the clerk, the council, and the historic district and planning commission and all of these city services and employees that are that there are rules about. They're all in the same place, which is a nice addition, but also it's a lot. And nobody asked my opinion if I wanted to change things. And so maybe that's this whole process is for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do have to, kind of go through the process through public meetings, right? Like it would probably be inappropriate to go here, give me your edits and then send it back. And then you're doing all of that outside of the public view. And so I'm not down on any of that. I do have some just questions about some of the language. And I think some of this is new. If it's not new, then I have questions about why some people haven't been following it. So, but I mean, so this is available on the City of Russellville's website.
I don't know as of yet.
Nathan's going to send a request.
Well, it would be available. He hasn't changed and updated the website yet. Where the code, because we haven't passed it, but you would be able to find this document in our minutes from the meeting, because it hasn't passed yet.
Right. Well, there's a proposed ordinance folder on the document center. If you go to the City Russellville website, it should be in there. If it's not, your council member Nathan George is going to request that it be updated to include that.
Let us know, because I obviously have access to it fairly easily, but it should be that easy for everyone, in my opinion, to look at.
It should be very easy, and then you guys can just do like me. Look, just start highlighting and making notes. It'll be fun.
Now, you can't just highlight and make notes based on things that you want. Like, it has to follow state law.
Yeah.
So, like, you couldn't just be like,
the mayor is off on Fridays, right, or whatever. Totally. But it does have to be limited, and it's not every ordinance that the city has. This is really about the administrative
everything that
structure of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So the commissions, the elected officials, and the employed departments that are not elected or anything like that. So it is a very interesting document. It gets a little boring around page 40. But I made it to page
That's about
50.
how far I made it through the first read, and then then just chugging through a little bit at a time. How many chuggas before the choo choo?
That's a good question. I say 4.
I say 8.
That's a lot of chuggas.
You ever been on a train? You ever seen a train?
Chugga. Okay, I don't know, maybe. Maybe just say, I don't know. I haven't done it out loud.
You tell us how many chuggas before the choo choo. And that's what it's like reading some documents.
It really is. That is a very good way to describe it. It's very much chugga. There's 38 chuggas before you get to the choo choo in this document. But I did hear the county judge announce at the last quorum court meeting that there is a severe blood shortage, and so if you are able to donate blood and you want to go out and do that, there is a severe shortage in our area specifically. I mean, I think there is in a lot of areas, but he did mention that, and so if you're interested in donating blood, that could be very helpful to somebody and save somebody's life.
Yes, absolutely.
I watched Shiny Happy People.
Me too. We watched it.
Are you
pro Duggar?
You ready to have a quiver full?
Yeah. No. 2 children. I have the perfect nuclear family. I don't want that to change at all.
I think it's wild though. If you start looking into that IBLP cult and Arkansas.
Oh yeah,
they have been involved in Arkansas for so long.
I knew about the Quiverful movement.
Oh yeah, me
way
too.
Before I knew about the Duggars.
Yeah. Way before. But I mean, they've been involved. That Bill Goddard guy's been involved in Arkansas politics way back before the Duggars were a thing. They have a huge facility in Little Rock. I think they even own one of the buildings that the Little Rock Police Department rents. I mean, it's wild. So yeah, that happened. Everybody's been watching that. I know I never let you talk about national politics, but I'm going to give you my most controversial take of the week. I watched the Casey Anthony documentary, the new one, Where the Truth Lies, I think is what it is, and it's her. Okay, y'all, I never thought I'd say this, but by the end of that documentary, I don't think that woman killed her baby. I never thought I'd think that, but it really, blew my mind. So definitely highly recommend if you're a documentary true crime person. Never would have thought that.
Also, apparently we have been doing stuff with aliens in our government for a long time.
What kind of stuff?
Did y'all not see that literally there was a NASA and U.S. Armed Forces press conference, a 4-hour press conference, and it was about all the UAPs and UFOs that have been seen and the interactions with extraterrestrials. 4 hours long.
Wow.
Yeah. So that'll put a knot in your noodle.
Guess I need to watch that documentary.
No, that wasn't a documentary. It was a live press conference. Real people in the United States government saying these things. Very wild.
I haven't watched it yet, but I will.
Yeah, I'm blown away. We're probably not alone in the universe.
Did you think we were?
No.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I didn't, obviously I couldn't say I knew we weren't. It's highly unlikely, in my opinion, that we were the only sentient species in the vast universe. We should go explore the ocean before we go explore space, in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of stuff down there that we don't know about. And we should take care of our planet before we worry about how we're going to live on another one. Both of us are holding these fancy things in our hand. There was a TV show where somebody had a thing that had all their things on their thing. And somebody got an idea and said, that would be cool as hell for that to work out in real life. And now we have these. We still don't have flying cars. I would say that that's pretty much it.